So sometimes, because we are going to be discussing spiritual things in nature and talking about a higher power, a supreme Bhagavan, sometimes addressed as Bhagavan, the cause of all causes, people may think that we are speaking about a religion, and so they begin to ask, what is the difference between yoga and religion? One of the fundamental differences is that religion quite often is reliant upon an element of faith in the sense of a belief. One has to adopt a belief system or certain types of beliefs in order to be considered a follower of a particular religion. There is no real consideration quite often of the individuals, and no profound questioning quite often about whether something that is being believed is truth, or whether it is untruth, or even partial truth. What is required is not to delve into that area. I can remember when I was a kid, I was raised within a particular Christian denomination, and I can remember questioning things, and the things that were too hard to answer, I was told, it is a divine mystery. Simply believe. And that didn't really sit very well with me, because I could not really appreciate, and I really wanted to know, and I couldn't appreciate that I simply had to believe. Why can't I know? Why can't I question and seek actual answers? Why do I simply have to believe? One of the wonderful things about the yoga system is that it is, you are taught to actually question, but you are not just encouraged, it is an integral part of the yoga system to come to experience the reality of truths that are put forward. It is not only not encouraged, it is actively discouraged that you should simply blindly believe something or have faith in it. One is encouraged to come to the point of seeing with great clarity that which is truth. And so in this way it is dependent upon direct perception. When I say direct perception, we'll talk a little bit more about it. I'm not just talking about the idea of seeing is believing. I mean, you cannot really depend on what your eyes tell you. It is possible for us. I mean, you watch a magic show, a really good magician, in order for him to or her to be highly successful, what must they do? They must convince you that something is happening when it's really not. They must convince you that they have an ability to make something appear out of nowhere. So I'm not talking about direct perception in that sense, because in that sense there is great limitation. But we will speak a little bit more about that in as we proceed. This actual yoga process is more akin to science. Just as in science there is meant to be observable reality, And it does not require any degree of faith for a person to observe a particular reaction or action and the result of that. Whether you believe it or you don't believe it is almost irrelevant. The result is there, it is plain, it is evident, it is recordable. Part of the scientific process is that there is practically the requirement to be able to undertake certain steps or series of activity that will produce a very defined result. And if anybody follows the same steps, engages in the same activity or the same experiment, they produce exactly the same result. It is something is considered scientific, or this is a scientific process. So the yoga system is very much like this also. There are very clear paths that one must traverse, very clear steps that one needs to take, and there will be a consistent result experienced by any and all individuals who undertake it. And therefore we can refer to the yoga process, and I'm talking about yoga process here and from the bigger picture, we can speak of it as actually being scientific. It is not faith-based, it is not belief-based. It is based upon experimental activity, experiential activity, where you come to directly perceive the result of specific practices.